Hello world, I am Ornlu. You may know me from such illustrious places like my Twitch stream or maybe Reddit, but here I'm going to break down my own 1v1 Arabia tier list and generally where I think each civilization falls in relation to every other civilization. Just something worth noting before I begin, this civilization list is not absolute. There is no one correct tier list, and depending on the metagame or civ pick settings, you can expect any of my civs to be moved up or down 2 spots, depending on the situation. So, without further ado, let's get into this, and I have placed every single civilization into one of 5 tiers: S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier, as indicated on my little Excel document. But S tier is essentially the strongest or OP civs that you see picked all the time in tournaments, and these civilizations generally are very fast and have very strong economy bonuses, which is why you see them picked all the time. Following that, we have the A tier, which are civilizations that can often have very powerful economy bonuses or very powerful military compositions, but have some sort of key weakness or key moment in the game in which they are weak that really holds them back from being just the top tier civilization. Then we have the B tier, which are civilizations that can feel very powerful in the right circumstances and in the right matchup, but generally have some sort of flaw that's pretty hard to overlook that keeps them from really being super competitive. Then we have the C tier, which is my smallest tier, and it's kind of the civilizations that feel kind of meh. They're kind of middling, they're not terrible, but they really lack the sort of overbearing strength at any point in the game that the higher tier civilizations possess. And then finally we have the D tier, which are the civilizations that you do not want to play on Arabia, and generally have no economy bonus, or very weak economy bonuses, or some weird holes in their tech tree that really prevent them from being competitive. But those are my 5 tiers, and I'll break things down tier by tier, starting with the S tier. Alright, like I said, S tier are the strongest civilizations for 1v1 Arabia, and within this list I will tell you why I believe each civilization belongs here, and why I have ordered them in this way. Though of course, like I said earlier, you can move these civilizations up or down 1 or 2 spots depending on the specific metagame or whatever. Anyway, at number 1, here we have the Indians. Probably not a surprise to that many people. Their cheaper villagers are just such an overwhelmingly strong bonus that, in my opinion, importantly applies every single game, starting in the Dark Age, but also being relevant throughout the late Castle Age, probably. And the reason I put them at number 1, as opposed to other strong civilizations like the rest in this tier, is that there are just so few bad matchups for the Indians. In fact, I would say that there are no bad matchups, and their only mediocre matchups, I'd say, are against civilizations like the Mayans, or the Aztecs, or the Incas. Really, the Native American civilizations, because the Indians don't have the greatest answer to Eagle Warriors. However, beyond that, fantastic matchups spread across the board, and there's really no situation that I can think of where the Indians would be a terrible choice on Arabia. Here at number 2, we have the Mayans. In my opinion, the strongest Mesoamerican civilization, or Native American now that we have the Incas, but strongest civilization that has Eagle Warriors. And this is because they have sort of flexibility that the Aztecs and Incas lack. Now, you might be thinking the Incas are the most flexible Native American civilization, but I'm talking about having the most consistent power level, I guess you could say, throughout the game, where the Aztecs are very strong in the Dark Age and Feudal Age, but then taper out until early Imperial Age, and then they taper out again. And the Incas really don't feel that strong in comparison to the other Mesoamerican civilizations until the late game. Now, the Mayans, on the other hand, feel fairly strong in the Dark, Feudal Castle, and Imperial Age, and have a very real, significant gold-costing threat other than the Eagle. They have the Plumed Archer, which is a fantastic unit, as I'm sure you are all aware, that can really be an important tool in matchups where your opponent will have Eagle Warriors easily countered. And with that said, their Eagle Warriors are probably the best because the El Dorado tech is the most versatile of the 3 unique techs for Eagle Warriors. There are some matchups where you just really struggle in the late game, and that is versus civilizations like the Goths, or against really any civilization that has a really easy time dealing with both Plumed Archers and Eagle Warriors. Because while both of those units are incredibly overpowered, some civilizations like the Goths and even the Malians really can clamp down both those choices, which is why I wouldn't put them at the #1 spot with the Indians. Okay, next at number 3 we have the Malians, the kind of jack-of-all-trades, master-of-everything civilization. With the building cost reduction and the free gold mining upgrade, they're just so well equipped to almost any strategy in the game, and their extra pierce armor for infantry give them a very strong men-at-arms rush, and can even give them their famous champ scarls in the late game. And the civilization just feels like it can do anything, and can go up against any sort of opposing strategy. Now, where they do fall short, and why I bump them down to number 3, as terrible a spot as that isn't, is because they really don't have a sort of overwhelming presence in the post-imp against a lot of civilizations. Like civilizations like the Indians, who I put at number 1, and even civilizations like the Berbers and Ethiopians really do have them beat when it comes to post-imperial, because, again, the flexibility of the Malians means that they don't have any one overbearing post-imp unit comp. But other than that, the civilization's fantastic. So that's why I put them at number 3. So here at number 4 is the Aztecs, our second Mesoamerican civilization, and the AOC standby for being the best 1v1 Arabia civilization back when there were only 18 civs. And this is because they have the 5 militia drush with their extra gold / no needing to upgrade loom. Yeah, same thing. And their faster working farmers due to their villager carry bonus really means that this civilization has a very, very dominant early game. From their 5 militia drush, they can go into feudal age archers, which create a bit faster, or they can go into a fast castle age and go into their monks, which are very powerful with their extra HP. They can go into siege, or now that we are in Wololo Kingdoms, they can just go Eagle Warriors and just spam Eagle Warriors for days. And the fact that their military units produce faster is a real boon with this civilization, because Eagle Warriors train really slowly in the feudal age, but the Aztec bonus gets them out a bit quicker, and you can just keep spamming Eagle Warriors. But even if you are in a situation where you don't want to go Eagle Warriors, those previously powerful strategies, like I mentioned, are just as good, and in the early Imperial Age, can really, really churn out those elite Eagle Warriors with 17 attack. But again, this civilization really kind of falls short in the late Castle Age, where they don't have a very strong option, in that you're kind of just making a bunch of Eagle Warriors, maybe a few monks, but you really have to wait until early Imp to get that sort of power spike against civilizations like the Huns or the Mayans or even the Indians that can really overpower them in the late Castle Age with their more powerful, flexible army compositions. Okay, at number 5, we have the Huns, everyone's favorite whoring civilization, as you will see on the ladder day in and day out, and what old school players like myself have played a lot of 1v1 Arabia Huns for many, many years. Up until 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, this was considered the best 1v1 Arabia civilization due to that not needing to build houses, as well as very powerful cavalry archers and faster working stables, really meant that this civilization can do any single early game to mid-game strategy. And they still can, even if houses are cheaper, making their not needing to build houses bonus slightly worse, and their cavalry archer bonus was nerfed a bit as well. Regardless, they're still very powerful, can still churn out tons of cavalry archers, and in addition, they have the Tarkin, which has been significantly buffed, and I think a very underused unit against archers, because these bad boys in Imp can both be created at their faster working stables and have 4+4 pierce armor with the plate barding armor tech, meaning they can both wipe out archers and buildings with extreme ease. What really puts this civilization down from their top tier status in AOC is that they're just not OP enough compared to the civilizations above them. It feels weird to say that the Huns don't have an overbearing enough Dark Age feudal age, but they really don't compared to civilizations like the Mayans and the Indians and the Malians, which just goes to show the overall increased power level in the expansions. But again, regardless, Huns, very strong civilization, very safe pick, but you do have to watch out for camels, which even though they were nerfed, this civilization does have a hard time against powerful camel civilizations like the Indians and Malians. So here at number 6, we have the Ethiopians, one of my favorite civilizations to play, and a favorite for many. This civilization is famous for its very powerful 22 population men-at-arms build, because that extra food and gold just really helps you get all those early feudal age technologies you want, like double bit axe, men-at-arms, while still keeping your villager production up. Just makes that whole process much smoother. And their faster firing archers really give you the edge in archer wars in the feudal age and castle age against every single civilization except possibly the Mayans and Britons. And the free pikeman upgrade is a nice boon as well, because if your opponent is making knights, you can just use your starting barracks to just turn out a few pikemen. It can really help drive those sorts of knight-heavy armies away, or even camels with the changes. The civilization also has a very powerful Imperial Age due to their amazing siege workshop with torsion engines, where their siege rams just flatten everything, and if you can squeeze out Siege Onager, which is rare but possible, they will just flatten ranged armies, especially enemy skirmishers. What keeps this civilization from being higher is that beyond their extra food and gold upon age up, they don't have an economy bonus, and their Dark Age is completely generic. So, again, the power level for the top civilizations is just astronomically high. So, even that small deficit in economy bonus that occurs in, say, the late feudal age or late castle age can put them, in my opinion, behind the top tier civilizations. But of course, it's hard to go wrong with the Ethiopians. They have very few bad matchups, and it's just a solid all-around pick. Coming in at number 7, we have the Berbers, or wow, this civ is really strong from Castle Age to post-Imp. And it's true. This civilization really feels like just completely overbearing from the Castle Age through the end of the game due to their cheaper stable units, as well as the availability of the Genitor, and of course you can't forget about that Camel Archer, which even though it went through some nerfs, feels like the new age Mangudai, as they even kill Mangudai. And the Berber armies are just really hard to deal with in the late game. They just feel like they have a cheap, powerful answer to so many different army compositions. They can even field very cheap Hussars, and of course the trash Genitor in post-Imp. And once you get to that point, it's just really, really hard to stop the Berbers. The reason that they are sort of on the lower end of the S tier is that they need to get to the Castle Age for these bonuses to be effective. They do not have cheaper stable units in the Feudal Age, nor can you get the Camel Archer out until you have a castle. So, up until that point, the only thing they have going for them are their faster moving villagers, which are nice and can certainly help out in a tower rush, which you will be doing a lot of with this civilization. But it's actually not much of an economy bonus. The percent increase on your working rate for villagers is very small. Even their farmers don't work that much faster. It's nothing compared to like the Aztec bonus or the Slav bonus in terms of farming. So the civilization really needs to wait till the Castle Age to become super powerful, but once you get there, man, are they super hard to stop. Rounding out our S tier, we have the Incas, our final Native American civilization. This civilization is the worst Native American civilization, which is weird to say because it's such a strong civilization, but in comparison to the Mayans and the Aztecs, they don't really have such a strong economy bonus. They don't have the insane farms, nor do they have the longer lasting resources. This means that you really are stuck with having double population houses and a free llama, which is nice, don't get me wrong, but it's just not quite as overbearing as those other two. Also, their Eagle Warriors are probably the least OP of all the Eagle Warrior civilizations, because the extra armor they get from couriers is only useful really against mass archer armies, in which case they are very good. They're actually tankier against archers than the Mayan elite Eagle Warriors, because 10 pierce armor is just insane. However, that doesn't really improve their offensive capability, and what I would characterize the civilization as lacking is that sort of really strong offensive threat in anything that isn't an Eagle Warrior. Their Kamayuks and Slingers are very, very powerful counter units. I think underrated how powerful they are in terms of counter units. But with that said, they just don't have the offensive presence that something like a Plumed Archer has, or even the Aztec monks. So for that reason, they will round out our S-tier civilizations. Greetings from Ornlu from the future, who realized that if he didn't split the video into different parts, it would end up an hour and a half long. So this video will just be the S tier exclusively, and in the next video I'll cover the A tier, and then split up a video per tier after that. So I hope you all enjoyed. I'll probably put a link to the next video or whatever in the description. So if you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all the normal sellout things. Yeah, whatever. Do what you want. I just hope you enjoy the content. And I will see you next time.